I am at the 4 centimeter part of my sleeve. On my lace chart, I happen to be, this would be starting row 15. So I haven't finished my lace chart and I've hit this 4 centimeter mark. Okay, so what I need is the use of 2 row counters. So this is the one I use to keep track of the lace chart. And for me, this is my red one, and it says 14 because I just finished 14. So I keep that one going because you got to monitor, you have to monitor where you are on your lace chart. I will now need a second row counter in order to help keep track of the increases that I now have to do. I'm going to set this to 0. So I have my second counter, and this is, it looks different than the other one, so I don't get mixed up. This one looks, it's a dark color, so I've got that one set aside. So you're at the 4 centimeter mark, and what are you supposed to do? It says when the sleeve measures 4 centimeters, increase 1 stitch each side as follows on the right side. That's on my errata sheet. So I do have to remember that I'm on row 15 of my chart, but what do I do? Okay, so on that, this is going to be the row 1 of my increase. It's row 15 of my chart, but it will be row 1 of my increase. So I am going to increase on the row 1, and I do it after my edge stitch. So there's my edge stitch, and that's a knit. And now you increase. So I'm just going to keep my marker on this needle, and in order to increase, there's 2 ways of increasing. You can increase to the right, which is what I'm doing here. You can watch videos on how to do an increase, but this is how I do it for anything on the right side. I pick up the bar in between the 2 stitches. I put the bar on the needle, and then I knit the stitch as normal. That means I have to knit from this end and catch that loop right there, and I increase. So there are in fact now 2 stitches on this needle, and now I transfer over. Okay, so now I have to continue with my lace chart, which I finished row 14, so I know this is row 15 for me. I don't know where it is for you, so I continue with that, and I'll pick it up right at the edge here. I'm just coming to the end of my row 15 of my lace chart, which is going to be a knit and a purl. Okay, and this is row 1 of my increase, right? So I have to increase on both sides. So what I do now is I transfer the marker over, and now I have to do an increase before my edge stitch. Now you can do the increase the same way as you did the other one, which is picking up the bar in between like that and then knitting it. But, and that's fine, it won't matter, you can do that, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I actually would like this increase to lean to the left, because that is how the sleeve is growing out at an angle, and I want that one to lean to the left. So instead of picking the stitch up like that, I pick that bar in between the 2 loops. I pick it up from the front this time. So I pick it up from the front, and then I knit the stitch in the back of the loop. Just gotta make sure I grab all the fibers. There we go. And I knit that stitch like that, and that's been increased, and then I do my edge stitch, which is a knit, because I'm on the right side. Okay, so now I have to do 2 things. For me, this was row 15 of my chart, done, and because this was at that 4 centimeter mark, so this is now row 1 after that 4 centimeter mark, and I've done my increase, so that is row 1. So that one's indicated. Now I keep knitting my lace chart, but my instructions say you have to do an increase on each end on row 1, which you did, and then row 5, row 9, row 13, 17, 21, 25, and 29. That is what you do. You keep putting an increase on either side on each of those rows. So continue on, and I'll pick this up when I happen to finish my M2 lace chart. Before I continue, I thought I'd best show you this. So I've just finished row 1 of increasing. So I've increased once on each side of my edge stitch, and when you flip it over, and you would be working on your wrong side, for me this would be row 16 of my lace chart. Now you have 2 edge stitches, and that first edge stitch you purled, and this one you made, you will also purl. And if you happen to be on the right sides and you have extra stitches because you're making, then you knit all those stitches that are on the other side of the stitch marker. Coming up on the end of my row 16 of my lace chart, on row 15 is where I had done the increase on either side, and this is row 16 for me. And you have 2 stitches because you just made one that are after your stitch marker. And what I wanted to show you, you must remember to do this. Sorry, I'm still in my pattern here. This one is a purl, this one is a knit. Okay, I'm moving my stitch marker over. These are both purled because I'm on the wrong side. Okay, so what you have to remember to do is, if you're still making your lace chart, which I am, that's a row 16, and you have this other row counter that you're using for your increases. We didn't increase on this row, but we did knit a row, and so that is row 2. And if you look at those instructions for the increases on row 2, you don't do an increase. You just do increases on rows 1, 5, 9, 13, but you have to keep track of where you are. So that's a row 2 in terms of the increase. It'll get easier when you finish the lace chart, which will be soon, and you can toss that stitch mark or row counter away, and then you'll just be using this one. Okay, so keep on knitting, and I'll pick this up when I do finish the lace chart.